arts since I was a child, and I'm a pretty good actor because I can get the emotions of the moment and the space, and to read people and really be present, which is the most important thing. So we're actually being right here and going through this and feel the energy of everyone here is not hard. It's beautiful, you know. And I've run businesses, successful businesses. I ran a successful theater company. I don't have an issue being in any position. I know I'm here to serve. It's like the dream job for me because you're here to serve. What a great position, and you get to share, like you get to bring people joy and bring people a wonderful message every single day. It's a dream job. Everybody's like, give me a hard time, and I'm like, there's no feeling like this. There's no feeling like, not even have to be standing here, just to be in a unity service, just to be among people of the like spirit is life-changing. But what I bring with me is I'm a pretty good speaker. I have a gift for gab, as they say in New York. And so what happened? So when I started, I was an intern minister, and he would ask me to speak, and I would come up and do sermons once in a while. And so I said, if I'm going to do this for a living, I need to do this every day. I need to do this every week, just like it's my job, right? You ever hear when people manifest stuff? I used to get dressed, and when they leave the service, I'd do one. I would do my sermon every day, and my wife would be there, and we'd film it, and she'd clap and laugh, right? Whether that was funny or not, right? I'm like, laugh, and she'd give me the encouragement. But the most important thing was, if you're called to do something, right, a lot of times we don't do it. We really don't answer the call. I didn't want to answer the call, right? Because back then, when I first got called, we were in the backwoods somewhere, upstate New York. And to be a Baptist minister upstate New York in the backwoods, I'm like, really, God? I want to be Denzel Washington, right? It's like, I can't be Denzel Washington from here. Not only, and it's a hard life. I'm going to explain to everybody what it's like when you decide you want to go into some kind of ministry. God has a table, right? Imagine a table with every single thing that's important to you, that you love, all your stuff, your prized possessions. And God goes like this. And suddenly, you're in a place where you realize you don't need anything. You're in a place where you're supposed to be all the time, that it's the presence within you, that you're never alone. And that stuff will come, it's nothing, you'll come back. How many times in my life I've been up and down? It's just stuff. But if I answer my call, because since I was called to do this, every time the universe has told me something in prayer, I said yes. I said, find me a wife. And he did. And I said, okay. Good job, God. and then where I worked, I changed where I worked so I could study. And so I studied diligently. And I've been studying every single day for the last 2.5 years. I study every single day because metaphysics was new to me. So I consumed it. And I learn new stuff every single day. My mind expands every single day, which is what I love about this. That you can never read enough, right? You can never be in enough services and be around people. It can just, like the universe, it's just constantly expanding. My favorite part about the movement. So I think what I bring is an innocence and a trust maybe. And I'm not, I've heard that before. That's the same old unity spiel, right? This guy's going to give us this sermon that we can read online or something. I'm never going to phone it in. It's going to be coming from my heart, and somebody's going to get touched and moved because they have to. If the Spirit's moving, I'm going to connect with somebody. Might be one person. I've been in service. This woman, she was so depressed and couldn't tell. She had the unity smile on, but when I did an exercise with her, she completely fell apart. And you knew. And so if I wasn't there for any other reason, I was there for her that day, where she felt encouraged and hope, which is that's what this message is, right? Just to say, hey, gosh, you're doing great. You're doing great. You guys look great. Who's got it better than you? Next question.
Who's got a question? Raise your hand.
We've run a lot of businesses, it sounds like, worked with a lot of people. What's your philosophy about bringing people along and using the strengths of the people around you to make an enterprise stronger?
It's funny, they had a class. They actually have a class about this. It's called Mission-Centric Ministries. And they actually had a class. I actually connected with the guy who wrote it. I was the second person to take it. And he wrote me a certificate. And we talked almost the whole day one time, except I was at work, so I had to keep stopping. But I'd call him back. Anyway, the point is I'm here to serve. I am here to make maximum use of the gifts that I have. But I don't have all the gifts, right? I mean, in my business, somebody else does the bookkeeping. I'm not that guy. You know, I could build anything for you, right? I would go out to the community and let the people know what this place is. That's my biggest strength, is I'm not afraid. There's no walls in here. I turn people to unity in a construction site in the middle of Florida in 110 degrees every day. And these guys are not open to the Spirit. They're not going to hold my hand, you know, and say, we are the world. But every single human being responds. If you respond from that place in the Spirit, they're going to respond, because it's impossible not to. If you come from your place, and I believe God called me to do this, and I've always been a workaholic. So unfortunately, they'll say, oh, you only need to do this much. I'd be that guy, 16 hours, you know, whatever it is a day. I have my wife to balance me. Otherwise, I go back in that place. That's why I married her. So I would come home every day and, you know, just balance my life. So the point is, the most important thing for me is I don't want to be in charge of every single thing. I don't need to be. I have my job. I'm really good at marketing. You know, I took my website from like 3 people watching to 12,000 people watching. And I did that in a few months. I know I could go get more. I just didn't have the time. I figured that was enough. I didn't want to show off. Just kidding. But the point is that I have a different style than a lot of people that have had 20, 30 years. I definitely have a different style. I'm definitely not led by 10 years of school, you know, in the ministerial school. Although I've taken classes and I'm going to finish, I can do it in 2 years the way I'm going now. I read the whole, what do they call that when they have a list? I've read the whole list of books you read for there. I read 2-3 times that. I read a book about a day. But I have such a hunger for learning, and I have such a passion for this thing, that if I could get in the position to whatever thing lights me, to light the candle in you and light the candle in you, to every single person who's here, if we light each other's candles and then we take that out there, the world needs us. The world really needs us. We're at an existential question, so I could say, oh, you know, I'll come back in 10 years when I finish ministerial school. I don't feel I have that time. I feel this is the moment. And I feel, everybody said, Texas? You're going to Texas? You're a Puerto Rican from the Bronx going to Texas? And I'm walking through the parking lot hand in hand with my very Caucasian wife, and we're going to the supermarket. And I cannot tell you some of the energy I was feeling, but that's where you have to go, isn't it? That's where we have to go, right? Do you know the church that we call the church, the Catholic Church? It thrived in Rome. It was the hardest environment. They did not welcome them. They fed them to lions, right? They cut their heads off. The church thrived in an environment like that because God's going to move you where you need to go. And I'm not afraid of it. I was in the Army. From the days me hanging out in the old days, death does not scare me. I know it's not the end anyway. But if I do what I'm supposed to do when I got here, and every single day I live full out, then I can make a difference.
Great. Here's another question from a congregant. Anybody else want to raise their hand right now? Okay. I'll run the microphone over to you, Cecilia. But first, you touched on this, Michael. People are wondering, where are you in your path toward ordination? What steps remain to achieve the goal?
So, I mean, anybody ever take ministerial classes here? They're structured so you can't take them like school. Like when I was in college, I could take 24 credits. They're like, no, you can't. I was like, I got 375. I can take any class. I can handle it and work. I work full time. And they were like, everybody has their own pace, but you can't do that in ministerial school. Because to me, I'm like, I don't know how many classes can I take. You know, I'll just do it at night. I'll stay up at night. Or I'll do it at work. I mean, I can do it while I'm working. And they were like, this has to be all like this in a sequence. Otherwise, I would have been finished already. Which I don't mind. That's why I should be working at doing it, because nobody's mad at me here. You know, if I take an afternoon and I'm in my office and I'm working on my ministerial school, you know, because otherwise where I am, I don't know, I got 30, 40 guys running around a job site. If I'm in the Connex hiding out, it's a different place. You know, stuff goes bad and I have to be conscious and be there. So for me, I need to be in an environment where I can really concentrate on the studies and get the most out of it. I don't want to go through the process and I sound like every other Unity minister, you know? You can't teach passion. You can't teach a calling. I hate to say it. Peter, who was the first pope, probably couldn't read. If you're born to do this, you're born to do this. And I found this is the place I need to be. I'm just trying to find a congregation that loves me. I want you to fall in love with you guys. I want you to fall in love with me and say, this is our guy. Because that's what it takes, isn't it? That's really what it takes. If you don't love me, don't hire me. Because then every week you'll be like, oh, that guy, he talks too long. He's always on another subject. He talks too darn fast, that guy. So you won't get it. But if you get it, if we're sharing that, I want a congregation that's gonna change the world with me. Because that's really what the mission is. That's what Charles Fillmore said 100 times. Unity's gonna change the world. Thank you. I'm sorry, that wasn't a question. You put a mic in my hand, it's dangerous, okay?
Hi, Cecilia
Hi,
here.
Celia.
So, first of all, I'm not sure I got an answer from that question about where you are in your ministerial.
2 years.
Two more?
I can get 2 more. Right,
Okay.
Right. I'll
All
say
right.
40% of the Unity right now is not Unity certified, graduated from
that's
Unity
true.
ministers. So, but a lot that I know, and I know a lot of them, they don't want to do it. Like, why am I at 67 going to take classes? He's like, I'm good at this. I'm going to stop. I love school. That's the difference. I love school. And I know, I try to, they said I could have, what do they call it when you clip out of the class? When you take classes they do for life knowledge, I could have hit 6, 7 of those. I'm like, you can ask me anything. I got Bible studies coming out to my ears, just growing up in the church. But the idea is to get the actual rhythm and the energy of the place is my goal. The words are not as important to me. But I'll get it in 2 years and show you guys, because I'm going to get it in 2 years anyway, whether I'm here or not.
Okay, another question, the real question. Me again.
Okay.
I coordinate the prayer chaplains in this church. What do you see as their role in your ministry?
The prayer chaplains have the most important job in a service because they keep the high watch. This movement started as a prayer group in Myrtle's Kitchen. So anybody who says the mission is not centered around prayer is probably in the wrong place. That is, everybody teaches classes on the literature. I think you should do a course on prayer and meditation. First thing, because when I was a kid, we weren't praying like this. You weren't getting quiet. You weren't connecting with the divine. First you were saying, I'm sorry for all the stuff I did, and then you would say, give them the Christmas list, right? And God, I need this, 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 and this, and this. The idea of just being, the idea of abiding, the idea of that trust and resonating, that is something that is life-changing. And I was a prayer minister. To me, I love that job. I volunteer. People try to get out of it. I'm like, I'll do it. Because that being right there, being in our midst all the time, in a constant state of prayer, that's the money. That's my Bronx. That's a good thing.
Hi, I'm Molly, and while I'd like to say that we're love and light all the time and we always get along, we're human.
Right.
So my question is, how do you deal with conflict?
Okay, so conflict in the church is usually somebody's doing somebody's job or stepping on somebody's toes, right? Or somebody's gossiping. There's always I've been in church a long time. It's always something of somebody's ego. Somebody's ego gets bruised or somebody feels they're overstepping. That's a big deal. When people volunteer for stuff, there's a lot of ego in there, right? Because they're not getting paid. So they're doing it out of love. So if you deny or you're not feeling what they're feeling, there's conflicts. Those are most of them. I tell you, on a job site where guys are going to beat each other up, where I'm like, real conflict is dangerous, maybe somebody goes to the hospital, 90% of it is just listening to what they have to say. If I can really listen objectively to what your point is, and you can get to the point through, I've taken a lot of therapy classes, through getting to what's really your problem, like what's really bothering you, if we can get to the point on both people, 90% of the time, those problems, you can take care of that. because both sides really want the same thing. Nobody's here, right, to fight with anybody. Everybody wants to be loved and accepted. And when those fights happen, there's some ego in there. Somebody's toes get stepped on, or somebody's overstepping, or whatever it is. And that's how you work. That's the first step, is really to listen. And if you pick me, I would always be open to listen. I've taken a lot of counseling classes. I do conflict management, like on my job every day. A lot of egos where I work, a lot of big guys with hot tempers and what have you. So I'm in that environment all day long. And the biggest thing I do, sometimes I'm the father figure, or I'm the mother figure of these guys, or sometimes sometimes they need a friend. Whatever somebody needs, whatever that energy they need at that time, it's not hard for me to do. So my time being open, I think we can handle a lot of conflicts. If that answers your question.
Thank you, Michael.
I think I stayed on topic that one, right?
Well done, well done.
Good.
We got several questions about Sunday school and youth programs. Here's a good one. Young families are the lifeblood of a church. What are some outreach ideas you have or strategies you've implemented to appeal to young families?
So definitely childcare, what you guys got. You guys got a great childcare setup, and the whole system is set up really well, which is fantastic. To get them in the door, there's a Unity Church in Louisville, and Reverend Bobby. I love Reverend Bobby. So when he started here, the church was doing pretty well, but since he's been there, he must have 30 teenagers in there that do the service every week, and I'm not even exaggerating. And when I saw that, I'm like, I know I got to ask him, right? How did you do that? I have never been to a Unity Church that has any teenagers in it, let alone a gang of them. And he said one person in his congregation told him about her gay son who was getting bullied at school, who was not accepted in their congregation because he was gay, because she used to be evangelical, and her son has been rejecting God and all. And Reverend Bobby said, let him talk to me for 5 minutes. Because Reverend Bobby was married to a guy, and he was out there like theater kind of gay guy, right? He was like open, but makes you love him, right? So open, so out there, so honest, and he sparked something in this kid. And when that kid got sparked, he sparked another one. And that's how we filled them. Plus, we do programs they can't do anywhere else. Every time I'm in church, I want people to get something here they can't get anywhere else. So they want to come in. Because something about praying collectively while we're here in the same spirit, in the same place, it's something, there's an extra boost to that really sends it over. But to get kids part of that, we got to meet them where they are, right? So there are programs that do school or what have you. What saved my life was theater. I was hanging out. I was working by the time I was 13. I was hanging out I grew up in the Bronx, so I was hanging out. I can hang with anybody. And I was always trying to prove myself. So I would not be here. Miss Joyce Neal, the only black teacher in my school, caught me I was reading Ayn Rand, The Fountainhead. And I was like in 9th grade. It's a senior book. So she said, what are you reading? And I'm like, told her what I was reading. She goes, come with me. And she took me under her wing. She made me audition for the play. And she kept me with her all the time. I took her classes. And if it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for her, I really wouldn't be here. So I'm saying there are kids like that aren't fitting in the traditional mold, that there's a way to reach them. You could do a theater program here. I could teach contractor classes. I could teach you a skill that'll actually make you some money. Because most stuff they teach in kids, they can't use. Practical skills, I can teach you something in a few months. You can go out and make money right now. I mean, we all have a skill. I've been doing contracting my whole life. I mean, sometimes I feel funny even doing this, saying I could do this for a living, because, I'm a carpenter, basically. So one, it's a spirit, not me. And two, that same spirit is in kids, little kids. I've connected with kids at 5, 6 years old. You reach out to them, because that soul is an old spirit. That soul hasn't just got here, right? That soul's been here. So if you use a way to contact that soul, both of my kids have that kind of soul. So I have 2 kids, and one is 24, and she's 16 going on, he's just 16. So the funny thing, there was this guy, he said, kids are like God in your relationship. So to look at something made in your image, but does not believe you exist. And when I said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to say that again and again. My daughter just was a sweet, beautiful, loving, caring girl, and just turned into, who is this person? Who is this person? I absolutely don't know her. But then, because I have an older daughter, they bounce back. So anybody got kids, they're going to bounce back. When they get to 12, I tell my daughter, listen, every year past 20, Dad got smarter and smarter. Because she's like, oh, wow, Dad said that. Oh, that worked out. By the time in the mid-20s, late 20s, they're like, oh, my gosh, you were right. I hope. You hope. What else? Anybody else? Yes.
How do you feel about having?
Oh, I'm sorry. Youth programs. I'm sorry. I was into that joke. I forgot the rest of that. So where the outreach is, how we reach them in the community, we have to see what organizations there are. So there are AA, NA, Al-Anon, there are groups with kids in them, that younger people that get involved. To reach people where they are and meet them where they are, have the meetings here, right? Any group that people come out of the house, because the hardest thing about teenagers now is getting them out of the house. What can you do to get them out of that house in that comfort zone where they feel they're comfortable and seen, you know? I had a pastor in New York. He put video games in the church. So the kids would come after school because their parents were yelling they had too much video time, and they would come in and play video games. But the one kid turned to the sound guy from the video games, right? Another kid, right, he's like driving the van or something when he got to be 18. I'm like, those are the people. That's how you get them. They finally had a reason to come because like everybody else, like every single person you know, once they come and meet us, they're going to love us. That's my youth thing.
How do you feel about having different people participate in the service on Sunday, or do you want to do it all?
Oh, that's a good question. So I've been in theater my entire life, right? If you have a guy who's hogging the mic, I hate to hog the mic. If you have a guy it's about him, it's this Michael show, I certainly don't want it to be the Michael show. So I want as many people participating in the service as possible. I want to pack with greeters. I want people praying. I want people up on taking turns on a podium. I want people preaching. I don't want to preach every week. I would love people because once you're in it, then you're committed, then it's your service. You're not just coming to Mike's house, to give Mike money, all this the process, right? Psychologically, you think that's what people do in some neighborhoods. Oh, I'm just paying the minister. If you have an idea that this is your ministry, that it's not mine at all, that there's no different, except I'm holding the mic and you can use this one if you want. If you get that idea that this is ours that we're going to build up together and it's not for us, that we're trying to save the world, if you can get that, then please come in. Please do things I can't do. I heard this guy preach a sermon, on the video. I watched him. It was wonderful. I was telling my wife how well written it is. I said, I don't write them down. I probably should. I'd be around on time, but it was so well thought out and so well researched and so well done. I'm like, yes, I think the ministry should come from the congregation anyway, to be honest. Somebody who's been here 10 years knows you guys, right? So you bring an outsider from another state to tell you how you feel or how you should worship. It's kind of backwards, right? In the Baptist church, they used to get the ministers from the congregation. And so he'd see people who were interested. And he asked me when we started, he's like, oh my gosh, you seem to have the gift of gab. Maybe you want to, try this. And he'd have me read stuff. And I always had a good memory. So I'm reading scripture and I'm memorizing scripture. And then I'm leading prayers. And then the process. And then when he had me to do my ordination, my first sermon, people like you've been doing this for years. And I'm like, because I was doing it for years. Or maybe I was doing it last life. Who knows how you get a gift? Maybe I was one of those corrupt ministers, and I came back to make it right. Who knows, right? Everybody says, really, listen, and you could be changing places with somebody abusing you, right? The abuser so you don't know. That's why I send Donald Trump love and light, because in the last life I could have been Donald Trump, right? I mean, because if you let go of this ego that we have, that you realize the more open I am, and more receptive to the Spirit that will tell you who should be preaching. Because if we get that, then, this process becomes a lot easier. Because everybody will know. It'll be one of those things like, oh, we think John, who's been here, or Jane, who's been here for all this time, wants to preach. Are you guys okay with that? Yay! Okay, we have a new minister. I mean, really, it should be that kind of thing. It should be that organic feeling of this is where the Spirit leads you. You feel the Spirit come from that person. This is a kindred spirit. Your spirit's like mine. We want the same thing, like a marriage. You want the same things. I want the same thing. I'm going to let you be the boss. Anyway, a good marriage works, right? So I don't want to be the boss. I just want to do what I do well and I want to develop a ministry to do that. So please, it's everybody. It's going to take all of us.
Somebody asks, and I'll ask this one, and then I'll bring you the microphone. Somebody asks, in recent years, some unity churches have embraced elements from a wide variety of spiritual traditions. Some say these elements have become too broad, and churches need to be more focused on unity's traditional Christian roots. How do you view this?
Okay, so I was a Catholic, and then I was a Baptist minister, and then I was evangelical. But when I became this, when I went to uni and read the Bible metaphysically, everything changed. So even though that's my roots, now I read Rumi, right? I read Buddha. Like I said in the service, I can go to any service where the Spirit's moving. I've been to a Jewish temple, I've been a mosque. I've been to ashram. I never thought I'd make it there, but I went to an ashram. And once you're there in the Spirit, it's the same thing. A rose is a rose is a rose. Let's just let go of the names. Only thing I use the Bible because that's what I know, right? I know it by heart. But I quote Rumi all the time, I mean, the Spirit's going to speak to a congregation, and where they're meant to go, they're going to go. So the idea is you shouldn't have to tell a church where to go. It's going to go where it's meant to go, You came here at this precise time, in this precise time in history. You chose who you are. You chose your partner. You chose your kids, even though they make you crazy. You chose every single thing in your life, and they chose you. So if you realize that, then this church is going to do what it's supposed to do, and you just have to get out of the way and give your time and your body. Let the rest just happen. Did I answer that one? Oh, good. I hate to go off topic. Yes.
I would like to know how you found unity, what the story is that you found unity.
Oh gosh, I tell this story so much. So like I said, I was a contractor. I was running a big job, very expensive job, and I was that took me to Stewart, Florida. And I didn't want to go to Stewart, Florida. I'm from New York, so I went down for a winter to make a lot of money. Was the plan? Bet I'm going to make great money. I'm going to live in the house. I'm going to live in a mansion. I'm going to save a bunch of money, and I'm going to go back to New York and go back to my life. But when I was there, God put that in my heart. And on a New Year's Eve, like I always tell the story, I gave I said, God, you take charge. And then a few days later, I said, find me a wife. He found me a wife. And I said, okay. On our second date, we went to a unity service. And in a unity service, everything I've been thinking my entire life, this guy was saying out loud. God, one presence, right? There were all just expressions of God, right? That there's no hell, that there's no devil. I mean, everything that I had heard, I couldn't say out loud. I was on a pulpit in front of 100 people, and I couldn't say what I was really thinking because deep down, I didn't believe I could send you to hell. That was not my job, right? The idea of no judgment. I always call this is Jesus without judgment. This is God without guilt. This is church without the stuff. You want to sell this to somebody? That's all you got to say. Because that's the difference, makes us different than every single person. People run. There are so many people that need this message. There are so many people that are hurting. Arch conservatives to arch liberals, just mad at God. They had expectation when they were young, and God broke their heart because they thought God wasn't there. They didn't know God. They didn't know God was already there, right? They didn't know. No one told them. If we can convince people that they can connect with God anytime they want, and that the presence is always with them, imagine what this place would look like. And then there'd be more people, more hands. Listen, what do they say? The harvest is ripe. We just need more hands, right? So whatever I need to do, that's what I'll do. And was I off topic again? I always go. Right. Oh, okay. I keep looking at her. I should be looking at my wife. My wife will tell me. Yeah, my wife. My wife will tell me.
Here's another one from a congregant, and it's a great question with a spin to the future. What would your vision for this church look like over the next 5 years?
Wow, that's a good one. So I would open this church up so that a lot of places could do their activities here. I know there's legal issues with that, but my wife's a lawyer. I always think about liability. But find a way to put things here so people are grounded here so that they know this is here and who we are, because just getting to know them. I would make our presence felt in the entire community all the time. There'd always be some unity thing, a part of, if they're doing some event, let's go do the event with them. If somebody's doing this, they have a lot of ecumenical things going on with different ministers and they're there, I need to be there. I would be there. In fact, when I was at one Baptist church, we switched off. We went to the Jewish temple. I went to a mosque, and they're like, "Why?" Because we're on the same team, right? Right? Different jerseys, same team, right? So the idea that if we can make this a center where people are utilizing it, I always want to teach carpentry classes. You know, I taught acting classes for years. I would love to teach construction trade skills to kids, teach them how to read blueprints and what have. I would love to make this a place where people could do that, and the doors are open to do that. So that would get the maximum effect of us, and more people would know us. So if I ideally could do that, then every one of these rooms would be used. There would never be dark time in here. It would always be somebody utilizing some part of the property, and welcome, and like we got a big piece of property. Have some kids camping in there. Have other groups camping in there. Just make it so this is a hub, like, oh my gosh. So we're not just the hippies on the hill. We're the hippies we love, right? I love those hippies. I can't wait to go back, right? That is the vibe that we can do if we're actually active and a participant. What I feel, and I hate to say this, that when we've been around something too long, I get that vibe of union. I've been doing this for 30 years, You get in a rut, and we like the same old thing, right? And we like, and to me, I hate to say it too, I was at a uni, there was 400 people there before COVID. And last time I saw them was 23. I almost cried saying it, because it's the same life-saving message. So it's definitely not the message. But to take that on yourself, if I suddenly don't want to do this anymore, if God tells me I need to put the mic down, I'm putting the mic down. If I'm not building a community the way he told me to do it, I'm putting the mic down. I'm stopping, because I'm called to do this. So if you answer that call within you, not only will this place be full, but new ideas will come to you what to bring here, right? What else? What do you do out there that we can do here? Figure out movie night, date night, comedy night. There's one unity, they'd have these kids come and play guitar on a Friday, and then a poetry group gets in there. I love theater, so there'll be some theater in here for sure. So the idea, but utilizes space, because it's just a room, isn't it? You're God. It's just a room. So if we got so many rooms and we're paying the rent, let's use them and open the doors. That's my vision.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks. What are your top 3 either new thought books or metaphysical authors or books?
Well, that's a good one. I have so many I love. I love Emmett Fox and Eric Butterworth, but I also love Ken Daigle. I love Ellen Davenport. I love so many people. It'd be hard to go, and I know some people that are not new thought. That are new thought, but not unity. A lot of the stuff you read in metaphysics that's good is not unity, because I love Emerson. Emerson was a minister. He was a Methodist minister, and Methodists used to be the racy people. They used to be the holy rollers, right? They used to be the spirit-led place. That's what that red thing is. In England, they were like, these crazy, radical Methodists. Imagine. My mother's a Methodist. So I laugh every time I see her when she's like, oh, I'm going to the church. I can imagine when there was a day like, oh my gosh, those Methodists. Because they were Episcopalians, right? They were and Presbyterians, wherever they were. Like, those people, they're just so happy in church. Those songs, and they get out of chair, and they're amen, hallelujah. And that used to be the mist. So when Emerson studied, he just felt he wanted to take church outside. He wanted to take it outside the 4 walls. That was one of the most inspirational things to me. But I'm reading all the time. Some books are not even unity that have really changed my life, like Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Maya Angelou I read all the time. Rumi, which blew my mind when I read Rumi. So because I'm new to this, I'm open to anything. When we were having dinner, my host Christine, who's an awesome host and a great caterer, she gave me some books to read. She gave me a new book to read, new movie to watch. I'm always writing notes because I wanna get what you see, how you see it. That's my job, right? The only way I can connect with you why are you the same? How are you looking through those eyes? My favorite type of literature is biographies. I love hearing about people's lives and what they went through and what they've gone through to get where they are. Love them. Love biography movies. I bore my wife with documentaries. Love them. Because really, it's like a roadmap, right? It's like reading the scripture. It really is a roadmap. This person's just like me, right? This minister's just like, this guy came from the same place I came from. I didn't come from a lot. I worked hard all my life. This person is you. That's what unity is, and I think it should be in every level of what you do.
Sort of on a more practical front.
Okay.
This campus is gorgeous and it's great, but it's old.
Right,
We need a new roof. We've
Right.
got mold issues.
right.
We have other contracting things that need to be done. And while our board is absolutely on top of that, I think we've struggled as a congregation for years on how to raise money to really put this place back in the shape that it should
Right.
be. Have you got a track record on that kind of fundraising?
Yes, in that class, mission-centric ministry, you know, it had something I didn't believe in. They were saying the traditional 10% is not paying the bills, not enough of us to pay these big projects. But the idea I liked in it was that this is all our building, right? This is every single thing in here is all ours, down from the pens to the roof, right? It's all our stuff. So to make the commitment to do that, but to me, it's get more people. Let's get more people, get more money. More people's more money. So we get some more people in here to be invested in this plan. Open the doors, like whatever the number is, we'll double it. Take the wall out. Have to do some renovations so we can make room for them. But the people you get in there, that's where it comes from. They're donating too. Some places I've been to, I was at a congregation, they had like 38 people. And these 38 people, 10 of them were doing everything. They were doing all the work, they were paying for everything, and these people were not rich. They sent me out just to meet my wife. I almost didn't want to go. I'm like, you guys, we can't afford that, you know? So I paid half it myself. Because I couldn't see it. I don't want to spend anybody's money. I work hard for my money my entire life. I don't want to spend anybody's money, you know, unjustly. But if we take responsibility for the building, we'll get it done. And I'm good. There's a lot of stuff around here, no problem. Give me a good helper, easy, yeah, easy. So I mean, I just renovated my whole house. I have one room left. My wife, she wasn't happy in the process. But as we're getting to the end, she's starting to do the Snoopy dance, right? When there's whole rooms with no dust in it, right? When there's whole, like, walls, and now there's bathrooms, you know, and all that stuff. I mean, so some of that's painful. But a lot of that, there are skilled people. We can get some skilled contractors. And having a site super is a big deal because you want good supervision. You want to make sure people aren't taking advantage of you. You want to make sure you're getting the value for your dollar. Screening people is good. But there are a lot of guys that are good that moonlight on the weekend. There are a lot of guys, if we get the proper insurance, if we're the contractor and we have that locked in, we can get a crew, man. I can get a license here, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying that there's ways to get around something. God will give you the ideas to work. We just got to think outside. It's just us. It's not just us. Right this second it is, but it doesn't have to be.
I'm picturing a senior minister who was also putting in new bathrooms and a kitchen, and it's almost too good to be true.
That's easy. That's easy, man, I'll tell you.
Hey, friends, couple things. One, we have created a survey for everybody to take, and it's available online. And at the back of the sanctuary, Elton also has paper copies, if that interests you more. I think we're all set here, and can we just have a big round of applause for Michael and Debbie?
You guys, love you guys. This is my dream job. Love you guys. Thank you. Stop. Okay.
And safe
Okay,
travels.